Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Link Ting, the podcast. So we just call it now Link Ting, the pod. Obviously you can see the background in the back, a bit of chrome effect, all of that, you know what I mean, looks nice. So I thought, you know what, let's try it out, see how it works. Don't know how long this thing's going to hold up though for, so hopefully it can maintain. If not, we're still going to continue on with the show regardless of what. Obviously, the episodes of the podcast, which will now be available right here on the Randy Prizzle channel on YouTube. Check that out, people. All episodes, obviously, of, Link Ting will be here as well. And obviously, today is my sister's birthday. I've been obviously having a bit of drinks, been celebrating. I've slightly waved, I'm not going to lie to you guys. So that's why I don't really know how this episode's going to go. I may say some things that be like, oh my word, did I just say that? But this is all aim of having a bit of fun, having a bit of banter, and let's see how this whole thing's going to go down. People are saying, what's with the hairbands? Hairbands, just to, have some cool vibes, chill vibes, you know what I mean? Relax like I'm on a beach somewhere or something, but I'm not on a beach, but it's kind of those vibes, holiday vibes and everything like that. And obviously, let's get on straight to a few episodes. In these episodes of these podcast episodes, we will be basically talking about certain women, but we will talk about them in more greater detail. So obviously, I'll talk about much more to do with relationships, to do with everything that's really relatable in terms of linking and tinging and all of that. So not the dream ting, by the way, so hopefully people understand that. These episodes should usually be about 25 to 30 minutes long. Not that long, but obviously usually longer than your usual episodes of Link Ting. So if you don't know, well, you need to know now. But let me stop waffling on. Let's get straight into it in greater detail of some profiles. Alicia. She has a picture up. Now, a picture describes her. She's wearing a polka dot dress, or kind of like a stripy dress, different colours. I like, when people turn to step outside of the box and create something that's a little bit different, that makes them stand out. And obviously what Alicia's doing is kind of standing out. She's got a cut bobbed hair, which is kind of cute, dark skinned lady, you know what I mean? She has a bit of curves to her. What can I see from the picture? How would I really describe Alicia? Alicia has these kind of, how would I say, like a cute little buttonish nose, kind of slightly wide eyes, with a little bit of, you could say petite lips. So that's kind of how I would put that there. So people, you can try to imagine that, how you feel it would look like. That's kind of the picture I've painted for you, so you guys kind of have to figure it out there. Alright, what she says, the secret to getting to know her is being able to speak with emojis. Now, how I can douse into this in emoji sense. Now, me and emojis, we're okay. We have a decent relationship so far. I'm not saying emojis are the best way to go, generally sometimes. Best to just have a general communication with someone and see what they're saying on a level. Some people will prefer you to be a bit authentic, be a bit different, say something a little bit out of the line. Maybe that works. For me, I generally do like to flirt with people where generally I can make sense of what the situation is saying and try my best with some flirting techniques and try to make her feel like she probably may be the greatest one for me. Yeah, don't watch about the noise. This is always going to happen. This is obviously Link Ting still. You can't help these things from happening, but the show must go on, as I say. This is all part of the process of evolution, of growing, and all of that. I like my things to be authentic, by the way. I don't like when people chop and change and add all this and that. For me, it tends to feel a bit fake and a little bit like you're not being 100% real. I'm a fan of the old school days of, all of that. That's why for me, it's just going to stay the same. Well, let's get more into what she's saying. The secret to getting to know me is, obviously, being able to speak with emojis, which I've obviously said, but obviously, I'm slightly waved, so I've had to read that again, just to clear my mind and thoughts and all that. But, as I briefly said, emojis are okay for me, so I don't mind them. I think there's certain times where some people can misuse them, when they can tend to go overboard with the emojis. Well, I need to text a person about this, so I'm going to use the emoji. Well, I need to text someone about that, so I need to use that emoji. Sometimes it's not always about the emojis. It's a sense of just like, you know what, let's see how it goes. Let's see, what it's saying, the vibe, and it's all cool and all that. So for me, emojis aren't usually the thing. But let me stop waffling on too much about emojis. People will say, this first episode, this podcast, all waffling on about emojis. What is all that about? But let's get into more what she's saying. She's 28, she's a woman, she's 5'5". She's a designer at London. So, here at London, being designers, not a usual big place for much designers when you're coming around London, because not enough opportunities in the grass here in London. Believe me, you got to know certain people to try and get into that industry, and believe me, I'm someone who's been in the graphic design world, so I kind of know how tough it usually is. But let me stop really going on. I'm totally going left with these subjects, ain't I? And it's already the first episode. Come on, Randy, get it together. But obviously, booze is going a bit to man's head, so man's a little bit out of sorts and all that. But anyways, from what I tell from her next picture, she's got this nice little flowery little number, which got the African prints on, looks really nice. It's kind of green, black, red effect. And she's got her leg kind of slitting out. Perfect, so I'd say, And she's got the necklace on, which is cool as well. Half top showing as well, so she's got obviously that half kind of showing. She's got the hair on point too. She's looking classy, she's looking sleek and sexy, and all that. I'm feeling that one. But let's get on to more of what she's saying. As I said, this is the first episode. There's going to be mistakes in her, but this is what it's got to be. The hallmark to a good relationship, she says, communication, honesty, trust, and a healthy dose of cinema, theatre dates. Communication, you've got to have some of that in relationships. Otherwise, it isn't really going to work, is it? If you don't communicate and you don't talk with your partner, it isn't going to really gel together. You're not going to have that sponge that forms, that settles, that be able to coexist when someone is doing a madness. Do you know what I mean? And then you can talk about the madness that happened, and you can generally sort it all out. So that's definitely one that definitely needs to be put down as a must in a relationships. Honesty, yes, gotta have honesty in a relationship. If you don't have honesty, you don't have trust, and if you don't have that, then it really isn't going anywhere, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? The honesty level has got to be big, it's got to be strong, it's got to be connected, it's got to be a unit. And if it isn't really that, then there's no trust, there's no love. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Ding, 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 ding. All of that, So but man, I'm into that theatre dates, cinema. Theatre not really more my style, but I would like to try it out with someone who knows their stuff on theatre. So if you know all about, what's going on, and then the play of today, maybe you can keep me up to date with what's going on while we're watching it. I heard these things could be 3-4 hours long though, and that could be a bit of a problem. So if it tends to drag on and I tend to get a bit bored, I might just sleep in the chair. But unless you can keep me entertained with some funny business and some stuff like that, then we don't need to really watch that. But definitely, cinema is my bag. Love going to the cinema. Obviously can't during this lockdown period. So I'm hoping for a girl who knows her cinema stuff too, and is deeply involved in everything in those connections, in terms of where she knows more about the cinematic stuff than I know. Well, not I'm pointing to me, but she right there knows about cinematic stuff more than me. So I did that the wrong way around. Don't watch me at this point in time. But let's get on to more what she's saying. This year, I really want to travel the world and learn how to drive. Tough shit. You can't unfortunately travel the world because the world right now is in a very bad place. So, during this lockdown and situations like that, not really advisable to be doing that. What's Dan? I don't know what Dan is, but some other alternative version of Bam Bam, you know what I mean? But whatever. Yeah, learning how to drive, cool. I tried to do that for once or twice, and I realised I couldn't really stick with it, because obviously there's a lot of money that goes into driving. You've got to really be committed, you've got to really be focused, you've got to really be right there to learn how to drive. And it can be a bit of a bitch, let's not lie to you, because driving can take up a lot of your money, especially if you haven't done it the first time. If you've just started to get involved into driving, there could be a bit of a problem there, because then there's a bit of an issue. You know what I mean? You've got to put your money together, your plans together. You've got to find a driver right now that complements you. And if the driver doesn't complement you, then there's a big issue there, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? But anyways, we're going to move forward to more of what Alicia's saying. In terms of obviously seeing Alicia in full effects, in terms of the camera's more closer to Alicia. She's got her hair out, nice red lipstick, she's got the cheeks obviously on point. She's missing a bit of that je ne sais quoi for me. Now I'm not going to lie to you, and what I usually mean by the je ne sais quoi, someone that has something that you literally can't turn away from. And that I just feel that she doesn't have that. So for me, unfortunately for Alicia, potentially, like, I'm obviously summing up her profile right now. What I've said and what I can dig and all of that. The fact that she's a designer is cool. I just don't know if there's any more there. And that's just what I'm trying to think. People might say, don't be shallow, Randy. Go ahead, give it a chance and see what you think. But I don't know. And that's the thing. Sometimes you know from when you look at a person, when you feel that person. And I don't know if I'm feeling it, you know what I mean? I'm not feeling it from the best of the love, but now I'm feeling it. No, I'm feeling it on the heart that you get from the law. If you feel it, put your hands in the sky. And I don't know if I'm feeling it. So, yeah, you know, what my definitely overall thoughts are saying, I'm not feeling it. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a no for Alicia. But Alicia, you had some great points down your profile. Don't be disheartened. But, unfortunately, you just don't have that je ne sais quoi that man requires. And people would say the overall summary as to why I said no. I just feel, for me, there's probably like the theatre thing as well. The theatre thing could come into contemplate where I'm like, Dad, do I have to go and sit for 3-4 hours of a theatre? She's a designer, which is also cool on the front. I know how to design, which I'm fine with that. But the general thoughts and the feelings are behind it is that someone needs to have that thing where you just say, I cannot deny it. I look at you and I want to do something more. Even though right now that's inappropriate to say so, but you want to do something more. You got to look at that person, you got to be feeling them. And if you ain't feeling them on that level of sexual connection and stuff like that, it's not going to be emotional. Listen, I'm not no psychosexual or whatever. So for me, I've got to feel that person on a connection of basically sexual, you know, desires as well as obviously the thoughts where she connects in places too, in terms of her personality and everything I'm feeling for in terms of all of that. So it's just general sense for me. That's all I'm saying on that point. But above all, she just missed that little bit of an edge. But she shouldn't be disheartened. There'll be a man out there that probably would be feeling her, wanting to rub her feet and give her all these, you know, back rubs and all that. For me, it's not going to happen. But anyways, let's move on to the next person. The next profile we got for you guys is Meg. Now, Meg's saying her unusual skills. She can draw a straight line without a ruler. That's pretty unique. Not a lot of people can do that, do you know what I mean? And that's quite a skill in itself. A nice little skill to have, but I don't know how useful it can become into terms of like life experiences. When it comes to like geometrical and all of that, then it may work. Excuse me, as I said, I've been having a bit of drink. Let's bring the drink out. Come, you might as well come, because obviously you've been the star. That's literally got me a bit licked right now. So there's a drink, and this is what's obviously been making man a bit, you know, whatever, all of that and all of this. So finish the whole thing. What that has in it, by the way, some Red Bull. No, not Red Bull. Mixing the Lucozade and the Red Bull. It's some Lucozade, wild berry, and you've also got some spiced rum. So it goes really well together. Obviously, has that real twang to it, the real sweetness, sharpness, flavour, all that spice and all that. Really nice. And anyways, let's not talk about all of that. So let's move on to Meg. She can breathe fire, she also says. That's incredible. I wouldn't want her to burn my dick off, in terms of if we get down to the low nitty gritty stuff, She starts going, don't want no Charizard coming out of my peace blood. If there's a Charizard, then that actually might scare me off, because I wouldn't want any part of that. So I don't want no Charizard, you know what I mean? If I wanted a Pokemon, then I'd be watching Ash catch him, failing at his usual task of trying to catch Pokemon. But anyways, let's move on to more what she's saying. She's 34, she's 5'9", she comes from, obviously, this place in London town. She's a PhD student, which is cool. Now, people who are PhD students, people usually say they have a bad rep of not wanting to get around much. I don't know. Generally, she seems like she could be quite fun. Maybe more of them are maybe a bit nerdish, but I generally think they're quite cool. So some other people, they might think, forget them. They seem like they're washed and they're a bit of a waste. But anyways, let's get on to more what she's saying. She has, two truths and lies, she says. I have driven across the United States 4 times. I have 9 nieces and nephews. And I have never read a graphic novel. I'm trying to think, because obviously in her picture, let me describe her to you guys. Bit of redhead. She's got obviously these kind of like circular pupil eyes, quite a little bit, not on the bug eye, too bug-eyed, but slightly bug-eyed. You could say probably around like that sort of level in terms of the eye contact. Nose is quite a bit, not on the thicker side like mine, you could say, but it's kind of a bit like, you would say, a little bit there. And then you got the kind of, it's a bit more longer than mine. So she's obviously got those eyebrows obviously on point, so they're kind of like right next to her eyes as well. And she's got these nice little, smooth lips. They're not too, obviously not big and pucker like mine are. They're probably not on the level of like, very much that and the same there. So those are what her lips are saying. She's obviously got a nice little, the jawline is obviously a bit curved hair, so that's what she looks like. General terms, so people, But what more she's saying, she has never read a graphic novel, and I think the lie potentially could be, I'm trying to think of maybe the obvious one, but I'm trying to think of the one that could potentially be. I could believe it could be the graphic novel. Somehow, something's telling me that the graphic novel one seems like the one that could be the throwaway one. So I'm going to go with that one. Okay, let's get on to more what she's saying. Typical Sunday. Serving on the production team at my dynamic grace-filled church. So she obviously works at a church. Afternoon social at the local pub. Maybe family dinners with British cousins. So she has British cousins, So obviously, I guess she's not from around here, what I mean? But, going to church, cool. I mean, I haven't been there in a while. I'm not going to lie to people, like, people say, why haven't you been, there in a while? It just, at the point in time, there's a lot of things you have to tend to do in the most, and people say, for me, usually it's in terms of like, praying at home and stuff, I'm fine with that, I can deal with that. And I do that on a normal basis before I go to bed and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I am at with that. I don't really want to purposely keep going to church. And obviously during this lockdown period as well, But even before that, I just, it wasn't really in me to keep going every week. For me, like, it could be a little bit of a drag, and you want to just go there and just say, your piece, say thanks. But for the people, obviously, who aren't religious, and, or are not obviously Christian, Catholic, I don't need to go deep in that to you, because obviously that's going to bore you. But going to obviously afternoon socials at the local pub, cool. Now, I mean, obviously your pubs are closed now, so you wouldn't really have much of a chance to go and do that. But if you do have the chance to, go and get yourself a drink or two. Really nice, especially during some of these weathers that have been happening. Obviously, some of the weathers right now, it's a bit gloomy outside, yes. It's a bit doom and gloom outside. She's still celebrating his sister's birthday. We still go down. It's still gonna happen. Yeah, baby. Don't do it right now, dog. Yeah, dog. All of that. So yeah. So above all, she seems like a cool chick. Going with British cousins, family dinner, and all that. But I would obviously say that she just doesn't have a lot more to her profile for me that kind of draws me in. She seems like a cool chick. Maybe obviously would like to get to know her more because she seems like she's quite adorable, but it's just those levels where I don't know too much. So unfortunately for Meg, it's going to be a no for me. And let's move on to someone else. We come to Liv. Alright, Liv. Immediately as soon as I'm looking at Liv, I'm not really feeling Liv, but let's get on to more what she's saying. This year she says, I wanted to start a charitable pickle side hustle and a Yiddish punk band. I think that word can be quite offensive to Yiddish, but I'm not going to say that anymore. So now it's to finish watching Midnight Gospel and eat the pickles in my fridge. So I mean, that's cool. I mean, generally she really isn't up my alley. As movies I've read that, like the charitable thing, I'm alright with doing certain things, but I just feel sometimes people can be doing it for the wrong reasons, like to try and make themselves look good. I'm not saying all people, but I think certain people are. So I think sometimes there's certain people in charity that try to take a bit of biscuit, where they, say, oh yeah, it's for charity and all this, and there really isn't. So, do you know what I mean? There's all some false pretensions and lies to it. Punk band stuff, that's cool, man. If you want to start a punk band, then go ahead. It's cool for you to obviously get on and keep doing that, yeah, not really up my alley though, but if you're down for a band and playing, and if you're good at, as long as you ain't screaming in my air bells and blocking my decibels, then we're cool with that, do you know what I mean? But, finish watching Midnight Gospel and eat pickles, not really too much of a fan. Only time I like them are when they're in hamburgers. So, you cut slices, put them in a bit of hamburgers, go fine. A bit of mustard, ketchup and all that. Fair enough, all good. But, altogether, not really feeling that drag. Next thing she's saying, my simple pleasures, lavender oil. I don't know what you find pleasure in lavender oil for, but if that's what you're feeling, that's what you're feeling. Futurama, I used to like that program. Watching that back in the days was cool. Do you know what I mean? Was a bit gutted obviously when they stopped showing it again, but Futurama was the ish. So smoky Russian tea, don't know too much about that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Would be interested in trying that, but they've got to sell it to me first. Cooking with others, she says. I mean, cooking with others can be quite tempting, but at the same time, it can be quite daunting. Because if you're cooking with too much people, too many people spoil the broth, and that could be what's happening. Strange YouTube videos, she says. YouTube videos that are strange. Sometimes I like the little, different things, Guinness Book of Records, that are quite strange. Stuff about the world, what's happening too, that's quite cool as well. Whiskey, yes, do like a bit of Jack, so the whiskey stuff, cool with me, love them, all good with that. You can drink just gonna start drinking some of that earlier, but I thought, you know what, already got a bit licked on some of the brandy from earlier, and I'm not gonna get too deep involved unless it's gonna go down those ways. But long walks, yes, can deal with that, but I prefer to be riding my bike, along the path and streaming, seeing it from afar. It looks all good and all that. That's what I'm feeling. Do you know what I mean? The bike rides, that, you know, takes your breath away. Takes your breath away. Do 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 do. Takes your breath away. Do 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 do. Yeah, all of that. So, you know, that's kind of what I would be feeling more of. Long walks, yeah, you know, bad puns. Yeah, sometimes puns could be okay. I mean, it depends what type of puns they are in general. So, let's get on to more what she's saying. Would get along if you like your feminism intersection, your music old, and your conversations weird and wonderful. Couldn't mind, obviously. I'm all in for feminism, and, you know, like, I agree to some extent, yes, that certain things should, you know, allow you to, you know, feel like empowerment of women, all great in that. I do agree sometimes in equal pay as well. Not sometimes, all the time, is it? No, don't get that wrong. All the time in equal pay. I do feel like, you know, women should get the same amount as men if they're doing the similar amount of jobs. It should be equal. So, you know, for me, yeah, I'm all down with feminism and all that. So, you know, your music old, I like 70s, 80s, 90s music. I've said that before on previous episodes, and that's what I'm feeling, you know what I mean? It's the thing that touches me deep in the soul. Do you know what I mean? Nowadays music is a bit all over the place for me. Do you know what I mean? Give me some olden days. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Some old school Phil Collins, all of them, man, them there. Some Barry White, you know, all of them. Give me all of them, man, them, yeah, you know, and the girl, them too, from back in those days. Those are the people that man's feeling, because those are the people that had the soul glow, you know, let the oh so silky smooth, just let it shine through, let your soul glow, you know, all that. People don't know where that's from, you don't need to watch that. I'd say go and check Coming to America, you would find out, but you know what I mean, also silky smooth and all that, do you know what I mean, that's what I'm feeling, do you know what I mean? It's all cool and all that. Conversation's weird and wonderful. I'm a very, very different guy. I could probably say along the lines I'm very weird and different and all over the place. So my conversations can literally go down any other two ways. Do you know what I mean? You're guaranteed to get some sort of laughter or something, or even feel creeped out or not wanting to talk to me again after the conversations we have. They're not going to be something very provocative, surely not, but there'll be something along the lines that may shock you or may even make you go, oh, you know what I mean? Oh, I can't believe that, but you know what I mean? This is what it's all about, and that's what the Randy Prizzle does. So yes, let's get more into what she's saying. She's not saying any much, but you know what I mean? Above all, in terms of the profile and everything like that, she seems like an alright chick, but generally for me, she's not for me. Doesn't have that je ne sais quoi, so it's going to be a no for me. So leave, it's going to be a no. It's going to be a leave it out to live. But anyways, let's get on to the next one. This will be the last one of this podcast episode, and we will call it time on this episode of the first episode of Link Ting, the pod. So anyways, come to Nadia. She geeks out on tech and music. I mean, tech seems to be cool. I don't mind what kind of tech people like, but for me, the tech I'm usually into is stuff that obviously is going to come down the line down the line and kill you. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about, do you know what I mean? Those ones that could eventually turn into machines and absolutely rough the whole base up. By rough, I mean, you know, the F word and all that. So, you know, I don't want that to obviously come and scare the crap out of us and come and literally penetrate a lot of us in our holes. You know what the holes are. Don't need to say from a woman, man's, we all got holes. So, you know, from behind where your buttocks area is, up in there and all that. But no, let's not talk too much about that. Do you know what I mean? That could scare the crap out of us, but we don't want anything along them lines that's going to completely rough the base up. And you know what I mean? When I say rough, that actually means aft. So the F word, let's just keep it on that. But we want to see things that are not going to be the things that scare us down the line. And when I've seen films like Terminator and stuff, that scares the crap out of me, because that makes me think that this could happen down the line. Because certain human beings could be absolutely stupid and think it's okay to put a tech in a bloody what's his name, and that's not right, is it? Do you know what I mean? But it's like, why? I mean, why? Why would you want to do something like that? But that's just a point for another time. When you have the good type of text that you don't give them a brain, then these things can't turn and start turning to be, what it is. You obviously, what happened before someone shouted man's name. It is what it is. But let's continue with that. Said, don't live alone. This is what the deal is. But I've kind of lost what she said, because literally the profile just changed and lost me. I don't know why it did that, but it did that. So I do remember she said tech, and what was the other thing? I can't remember. But let's just unfortunately it said a no for me, because it just went. I can't get that back and all that. So I can't want you back. So I do now. I want you back. Yeah, baby. I want you back. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, baby, give me one more chance. Show it I love you. Won't you please let me back in your heart? No, darling, I was blind to let you go. Let you go, baby. Now I'll see you anytime. I want you back. I do now. Anyways, yeah. Alright, this is going to be the last one, because she was supposed to be the last one, but then she just deleted herself. But let's get on to what this one's saying. This one, obviously, we got some noise in the background. Hold on 1 minute. So yeah, this one we're coming to now is Flossie. Flossie, she says, fact about me that surprises people. I have really bendy fingers, she says. That can really do some damage. But if you're obviously playing around with yourself, fair enough, that could be all pleasurable and all that stuff. So you know what I mean, could reach the spots that probably no man's piece can reach. So cool on that one. Let's get on to more what she's saying. She's 23, she's 5'5", she's obviously a student, she comes from Edinburgh, says. Let's debate the topic. Would you rather have bendy fingers or normal fingers? I'm looking at my hand. Feeling it. I'm feeling it. Yeah, I'd rather have normal fingers, to be honest. I don't think bendy fingers are a thing. Imagine having bendy fingers, like, I mean, my fingers do bend slightly, but what would you do with them? That's the question. What would you do with bendy fingers? What could you do with them? I mean, apart from other activities, self-loathing and stuff, what could you do with bendy fingers? What could you do with them? What can they be useful for? I'm trying to think. If you're trying to probably hold a bag upright or something, wouldn't it just drop or something? Like, wouldn't it just be a bit weird to kind of hold something in place? Would it be a little bit off and stuff? I don't know. Like, I'm generally trying to think here. Like, yeah, I don't see how that's going to work. It could be something that's very traumatic, I guess, towards people, who don't have normal fingers, in a sense. Not trying to diss people who have bendy fingers. If you have bendy fingers, maybe they work wonders for you still. But normal fingers, I think, are the way to go in general terms, because, But the next thing she's talking about, the award should be nominated for bendiest fingers. There's some finger fetish thing going on here. You need to stop this. You really need to stop it, Flossie. It's a bit too much now. Do you know what I mean? Talking about fingers and bending and all that. You like to do a lot of things, self-loathing, which is fine. I'm not saying it's bad. It's alright. If you obviously ain't got no one else, then you gotta do what you gotta do to have that thoughts and sensation within yourself, and that's fine. But you know what I mean? Bendy fingers, bit weird. Very weird. But you know what? That's what floats your boat, then that's what floats your boat. I can't really say too much about that, but yeah. Anyways, cool. And that's all for that one. Let's just leave it as that. So yeah, fair enough. Flossie, for me, is going to be a no. Generally, the bendy fingers creeps me out. So, I don't really want any more part of that. And that's all I've got time for that one. So that's all. I was going to come to one more, but you know what? No, we're not. let's just leave it there. We'll come to another episode when the Link Ting usually returns, and it should return during the weekend on a Sunday, hopefully. And then the usual days of this, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you get an episode usually around the Tuesday, Wednesday period of a longer podcast episode, where, you know, we doused a bit more into the profiles and we talk a bit more in terms of relationships and all that, you know, yada yada and all that. So I'd like to thank everybody out there for checking the first episode of this Link Ting the pod. That's always just going to be named Link Ting the pod. So, you know, for the people out there who don't know that's what it's called, do check out the previous episodes of Link Ting, the normal episodes. This is obviously episode 1 of the podcast and that. So do check out the previous episodes. Do also subscribe if obviously you're feeling this content and all that. If you're not, click X, don't care. Leave it all out, forget it, you know, leave it out, leave it out, don't watch the profile, leave it out, just leave it out, mate, just leave it out, go away, do you know what I mean? Just that's all you need to do. But thanks to everybody else who has checked this episode out. Appreciate obviously all the support, people obviously you're liking it, all the 15 fans that have got on the page, appreciate you lot. Big up to you a lot who obviously have been checking that out. Thanks again. And obviously, keep it locked. Episodes, obviously, later episodes will be coming soon. Hopefully the Clairpoint will be back this weekend or maybe the next weekend. Just trying to sort obviously a few things out. Trying to obviously, you know, minute a few things as well. Keep it very direct as well. And all of that. But thank you guys. And we'll see you obviously on the next episode of the normal Link Tings, Randy Prizzle Link Tings. Yeah, so appreciate your time, and you know what we usually do on the linking and ting and all that. So link out, link out, link out.